look upon your face. I should have changed my stupid lock. I should have made you leave your key. If I thought for just 1 second you'd be back to bother me, I'm gonna go walk out that door. I said just turn around now, 'cause you ain't welcome here no more. I said, weren't you the one that took my truck and took my dog? Did you think I'd crumble? Did you think I'd sink in a bog? Oh, no, no. I will survive. Yep, as long as I got a can of chewing tobacco and my 9. That's pretty good. I got all my life to live, and I got all my love to give. I will survive. I will survive. It took all the strength I had not to tear my trailer apart. I'm trying hard to mend pieces of my broken car. And I spent oh so many nights just drinking Bud Light on my porch, and I grew strong. I held my head up high, and you'll see me with somebody new. I'm not that silly little cowboy, I'm still in love with you. So you thought you'd drop by and just expect me to be free? Well, I'm saving all my Pop-Tops to give away to the elementary. Oh, now go on. Walk out that door, the screen door, just turn around now. You ain't welcome here no more. Aren't you the one that slashed all my F-150 tires? You think I'd crumble? Nah, I lit a whole bunch of fires. Yep, I reckon I'll survive. As long as I got a new truck. I know. That's it. Demonetize me for that? Is that worth demonetizing? Yeah. How y'all doing? Nice to see you all. Good evening. I hope you're all surviving. Well, tonight I'm feeling classy, so I have a very inexpensive green tea instead of coffee. Well, parodies are fair use, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't stop them though. When I did Compost Police, they demonetized the stream. It sounded too much like Radiohead. I wish I knew how tomatoes grew. I need to find the lyrics for that. I wonder, yeah, I think I do have it. Of the Tomatoes song. I think I have it, actually. You know, I thought that tomato video was going to take off more than it has. It's only performing like one of my regular videos, which I find surprising, and I think it might be because I released it in the evening. It was later at night, we did this evening thing, and I think that it just sort of disappeared from the algorithms because it was played late at night, and then nobody was watching it at 2 in the morning, so the YouTube recommendation thing doesn't kick in. So I'm hoping it's going to catch because, man alive, that was a lot of work. That was too much work. I want to thank Karen for the super chat. Thank you very much for the tip. I appreciate it. Anthony says you got a low of 27 tonight. I'm sorry, that's tough. Monique has some nasty storms. Oh, yeah, I'll be in it. Okay, good. No, that'll be great. Possible tornadoes and hail. I've planted a lot of little seedlings, so hopefully they don't get too badly battered. Today I did an experiment. I raked up a bunch of leaves and pine needles and put them on top of one of my cover crop beds and lit it on fire with some sticks. Burned the tops off of all the rye, but there's this whole mat of roots underneath. And then as it was going out, I covered it with rotten pine bark and material. And so basically I'm trapping a little bit of biochar in there along with some ashes, and I'm killing off the cover crop at the same time, but there's still a lot of roots in the ground, so I figure I'm not losing all of the cover crop. It's not all burning away. Now I'm going to plant beans on top of it. But it's just an excuse to light things on fire. I'll probably come up with a really good reason why that's the best way to garden soon. But really the reason is I just want to light stuff on fire. So it's nice to see everybody here tonight. Got a lot of folks here. Joe and Lynn and Donna and Seed Addicts and Drew and Von Rees and Jeremy and Scott. Scott says, I think the tomato vid will take off as folks start looking around for tomato growing info. It seems like it'll be a good long-term player. That's what I hope. I probably need some help with doing thumbnails and promotion and that kind of stuff. Probably need to sign up with one of them websites, that Squarespace, you know. Carolyn says I must drive the YouTube people nuts. I don't know. They have not offered me a silver play button. So they have to offer it to you. You can request it, but they actually are supposed to give you an offer, and they never gave it to me when I hit 100,000 and beyond. Gardens are growing well. Bradley's Adventures. Mad Jeeper says, make it to biochar as we chat fires, and I love it. Yes. Donna, you're getting a new fence and decks. Fantastic. More in new planting areas. That's always fun. Jeremy, nice to see you. Foo Bear, welcome. And Gypsy, I don't know if I'm ready for the weather or not. Where do I live now, Joe? I live in South Alabama. Hey, Ajax. See you, Shane. Denise. Tina. Joe. Oh, I'm gonna miss a bunch of people, I know it. I better just stop naming people, but Anna, Off Kilter Homestead. I'm disappointed your thumbnail wasn't Bill Murray screaming, I'm gardening, I'm gardening! Look at me, I'm gardening! Okay, that's a good way to start this out. Let's start this out. Oh, and thank you, Von Rees, for the super chat, much appreciated. The weird cackling lemon head, I like it. Snickering, maybe. This is the opening music. At this part, we're past the big bit at the beginning where I just talk to people and play some sort of song. And now it's time for us to get to the actual theme of this good stream. Baby steps is the theme. Baby steps is the theme. Baby steps is the theme. Ooh, that hurt. Everybody tunes out of the actual content starts here. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Goodstream number 173. I'm your host, David the Good, here with my green tea from the Bigelow Company. This live stream is sponsored by Bigelow. Quality is in the details, never settle. Hashtag tea proudly. Huh. Well, proudly teeing tonight. I didn't know that was a thing. So tea is a verb. You could tee off somebody, but that's tea. Never mind. So, welcome. What About Bob? Did anybody see What About Bob? What About Bob was one of my dad's favorite movies, if not his absolute favorite movie. His other favorite movie was Remember the Titans. I think that's what it was called. But I never watched that one. I don't really care about sports movies that much. But, except I like Chariots of Fire. I thought that was a good movie. What was that one where the donkey plays football? Anyhow. What About Bob? The reason us kids thought that movie was so funny was not so much that it was funny, because it was funny, it was really funny, but that Dr. Leo Marvin, Dr. Leo Marvin reminded us of Dad. My dad was an author. He wrote Bible studies and worldview curriculum. He was a very intelligent man and a very good writer. And he didn't get, he never quite got why we thought What About Bob was so funny, and why we would always laugh at Dr. Leo Marvin, because my dad was a very precise guy, and some of the mannerisms of Dr. Leo Marvin were very similar to the way my dad was. He'd say, okay, I have a book. He would even do that same thing. He'd like find a book, and he had a library of books, but he wrote his own books, and he was always giving books away to people. So the idea of him as a kind of a straight-laced family guy, author, organized, everything's well thought out, losing his mind over time with an insane patient, we always thought it was hilarious because it reminded us of Dad. But Dr. Leo Marvin's book in the movie is called Baby Steps. Baby Steps. And of course, he gives the book to Bob, who is a neurotic, barely can leave his apartment, scared of germs, scared of everything, can't drive. But he gives him the book Baby Steps. And so Bob is like, it's changing his life. He's like, oh, baby steps to the elevator, baby steps onto the elevator, baby steps down to the lobby, baby steps out the door, baby steps past the secretary. You know, baby steps, one step at a time. You can do things one step at a time. And Bob is recovering while he's driving Dr. Marvin insane. It's very funny. It's a very funny movie. And, you know, despite Dr. Leo Marvin being a fictional character and the book being a fictional book, the concept of baby steps really works. I have a daughter who is a year and 3 months, 3 or 4 months almost old, and you know, when she took her first steps, she went from crawling to kind of hanging on to stuff, and kind of you hold her hand and she takes a tentative half step and a little bit forwards, and then she wants you to pick her up, and then she took a few more steps, and then she took 3 or 4 steps, and then she was suddenly able to walk all the way across the living room very unsteadily. And now she's just going around in circles, and she's walking backwards, and she's walking into my office, and she's walking out, and she's walking around the backyard, and she just walks everywhere, all over the place, like she's always been walking. She's a good walker. She's all over the place. But you had to learn how to walk first. And you have to learn how to take steps. When you look at something that is a developed system, you know, I think we want it instantly. You look at some of the landscaping. Look at the landscaping in, you know, someplace like Epcot, or look at the landscaping at some of these old estates and plantation houses. Look at the landscaping at Kanapaha Botanical Gardens in Gainesville. Kanapaha Botanical Gardens, unbelievable. But you know what that is? It's people gardening for years and years and years, and one step on top of the next step, on top of the next step. And when you're just one person and you don't have a bunch of volunteers or you don't have a bunch of money, you have to take baby steps. One piece at a time. On my Terra Preta video that I did recently, I had multiple people come in and say, wow, that is way too much labor. Well, realistically, yeah, it's a lot of work. But it took me about 4 or 5 hours, maybe another couple hours if you consider putting the materials together. It's not that bad. If you average the labor out over 500 years, it's like, wow, it's a few seconds a year, I don't know. The problem, I think, is that we want things to happen all at once. We want to buy in the soil. We want a tree that is already large in the pot. We don't want to grow a tree from seed because it takes way too much effort. I think we don't think in terms of a long series of steps. We think in terms of big leaps, and so we don't do things because it takes too long. It'll take too long to clean my room. Well, you better start now. Did your mom tell you that? It'll take forever. You better get started, because you're gonna starve. I mean, it's one step at a time. You pick up one thing at a time, and eventually there are no more things to pick up, and you can go eat your boiled turnips for dinner. One step at a time. Baby steps, little bitty steps. So you don't have to have the perfect garden from the beginning. You don't have to have perfect soil from the beginning. You don't have to have a food forest from the beginning. But you do have to take those steps. You have to plant. If you love, the look of a great big pecan tree, or you remember your grandma having a beautiful pear tree or an apple tree in her backyard. I have an aunt, a great aunt, and my great aunt and uncle have an old apple tree in their backyard up in New Jersey. And this old apple tree bears apples that are about that big, not super big, but they're sweet and they're delicious and a little bit tart, and they're so good right off the tree. Some of them have worms in them. Some of them don't. It's not really a well-tended tree, but it's exuberant, massive, incredible, beautiful amounts of apples. Now I love that. But if everybody said it takes too long for an apple tree to grow, we wouldn't have trees like that. And what I've noticed is that people haven't planted trees often in decades. It was like our great-grandparents did it, but our grandparents didn't do it, and our parents didn't do it. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to plant those fruit trees. Somebody's got to take the baby steps right now for the sake of the future, for the sake of the children that will eat those apples after we're gone, or pecans, or chestnuts, or persimmons, or whatever. If you look and you say it's going to take 8 years for that thing to make fruit, well, you'd better start now. I hear my mom, well, you better get started. You can do that. One step at a time, bit by bit by bit. So with the Terra Preta thing, it's like, well, yeah, it took a lot of work. If it turns out that it improved that piece of soil to a huge level, that's great. That was worth it. It was a good deal. If it turns out that it was not all that helpful, and I have to go and fertilize that area and treat it like the rest of the gardens in a couple of years. It was still worth it because I learned that that was not the right approach, and I have to take another approach to do it. See, if you take a few steps and then something doesn't work, don't sit down on the ground and throw a temper tantrum. Don't throw yourself on the floor and cry. You know, that's where you say, okay, that wasn't the right thing. I'll try something else. I could do something else. There's always something else. So, yeah, or the next renter. Bad Driver to Columbus, Georgia says, I got my seeds and cuttings from Stephen Edholm today. I'm excited. Fantastic. Good work. Good work. Wow. 1010 Gen Friend. I think I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the sweet earth's flowing breast, a tree that looks at God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. I like it. Jason says, so David, what you're saying here is you want me to send you some of my seedling pecans when they go dormant this fall. Sure, why not? I've actually got pecans stratifying in the fridge right now, so. Matt Jeeper says, the Amazonians created great soil, terra preta, 1,000 years ago. It's still excellent today. 1 foot in front of the other. And soon you'll be walking out the door. That's right, Jeremy. Vonnery says, you can have fruit in a year or two, plant a tree. Yeah, that's right. See, this is why I plant annuals at the same time as I plant perennials, at the same time as I plant long-term trees and seedling trees, all kinds of different things. All kinds of stuff. What am I propagating? I am starting about 50 fig trees back here. I showed them on another stream. We got some fig trees here, and I have some acerola cherries. My mom sent me cuttings, so I've got the little baggy method. My book, the baggy method I describe in my book, Free Plants for Everyone. There is a link to my books below this video. If you read, you know, one word after the other. So, you know, you don't have to get weird. And be like, this is just too much. You just do what you can. Do one bit at a time. I mean, that's how people get in great shape, one exercise at a time. That's how you get fat, one bad choice at a time, or it's how you get thin, one good choice at a time. One thing after the other. There's this incremental thing. This is how I write books. I am not super organized. You know, I'm not. I'm not like a hard schedule type of organized guy. I'm all over the place. But what I try to do every day is some work in the garden. I try to do some work with writing, some work with video editing, etc. And it turns out that I get a lot done because 6 days a week I do that. And then on Sunday I rest. I don't do any work on Sunday unless I absolutely have to. So 6 days, get work done. The 7th day I take a break. And it's just one bit at a time. So that's how I wrote 14 books in 6 years. Of course, you guys don't know the names of all those books because I've written under pen names and stuff too. But my gardening books have all been written since 2014 and 2015. One word at a time, one step at a time, and anybody can do that. You got to take one step at a time. I'm not going to do this. I will do this. I will do this, and you'll find that as you take the steps and you'll start to see a little bit of progress. It makes you want to take more steps. When the apple tree that you planted 3 years ago puts on its first blooms, then you're like, oh wow, that's so cool. I want to plant another one, because eventually you reach it. You reach it. And like I was saying, you know, annuals and perennials, plant yourself some watermelons, you know, or plant yourself some cherry tomatoes. Get some nice, beautiful, sweet fruit in 90 to 120 days. And at the same time, plant a cherry tree, plant an apple tree, plant a mango, whatever. And then you have long term, you're always taking these steps. So you're gonna have something that's gonna make you happy right now, or very soon. And then you've got stuff that's gonna come somewhere in the middle. And then you've got stuff that when you're older is producing. So you do one bit at a time. Helen says 6 days rest. What's the rest? No, you've got it wrong. It's backwards here. Organic Gardening in North Carolina says my peach tree has self-planted quite a few new trees for me. Yeah, you know, one of the cool things that I discovered years ago was I visited my aunt and uncle's place. They had a cabin in North Carolina, and they said that peach tree over there, which had peaches all over it, that peach tree just showed up there. Somebody threw a pit off the porch. And I was like, I didn't know it worked that way. I thought like it was like some special magic to grow peaches. I didn't know you could just throw a peach off the porch and sprout it. So I started, you know, that was one of those things that made me think, and not only that, they were like great big sweet peaches. Why am I not doing this? Well, I should be doing this. Start some peaches from pits. Why not? So, baby steps. Don't worry. What kind of figs? I don't know. They came from a hunting camp. Some of my friends have a camp where they go deer hunting, and there was a big fig tree there. My guess is it's probably a brown turkey or a Celeste or something. So, Morning Gardener Show says, I purchased a wonderful pomegranate to plant in my zone 7B. Some say it won't work. I believe I'll give it a try anyways. I would just protect it the first couple of years because they will freeze back pretty bad when they're small. Jeremy says, I want my kids to be proud of the property we created once I'm gone. Also, I love tomatoes. Yeah, that's right. You know, and when there's the annuals versus perennials thing, you can grow yourself a lot of fruit on annuals. Like if you want to grow melons, you can get a lot of fruit weight-wise compared to waiting for a fruit tree to come in, you know. So you do that in the short term, and in the long term, you've got the less work of trees, and you get all the amazing stuff that grows on trees, fresh plums and cherries and peaches and pears and all that wonderful stuff. It's very good. Seed Addict says, my husband wants a bunch of fruit trees. It's a good desire. That's valuable. So apparently my wife is going to bring her violin in a minute, so I'm going to take a few questions. This is just a short inspirational talk because you can do things one little bit at a time, and you should do things one little bit at a time. If you try to, you know, it's great to do huge projects, but if you build up like a few small garden beds and they're really well taken care of, and they'll be more productive than if you try to attack multiple acres all at once in one huge leap, you know? So, Tina says, I have a pomegranate up against my house in 6B, survived its third winter. Shane says I should look into other edible oaks to find a preferable variety and it'll graft. Quite possibly. The white oaks generally have sweeter acorns. Foundry says my cuttings are starting to mold. Should I uncover them? Possibly. Sometimes they just mold and rot. I've had that happen before too. Frank Jones says gardening equals investing, short term, medium term, long term. That's right. That's a good way to look at it. You know, so your short term might be like, hey, I'm going to buy, you know, such and such cryptocurrency this week because I think it's going to get hot, and maybe you'll just flip it and get out of it. And your midterm might be like, well, I'm going to have some bonds that pay me 4 or 5%, you know, because I might need that cash before too long. At least I get a little on it. And then your long term is, you know, burying gold in your backyard. Bury some craftsman tools that were still made in the U.S. for the future. I don't know. Scott says, on my apple grafts from Cuffle Creek, one science parafilm looks like it busted and the wood seems dry. The others are already putting on leaves. Think it's toast? Yes, quite possibly. If they dry out, it's done. Generally, they should put on leaves, and usually they heal very quickly. Apples are actually usually take, but if it's not putting anything out, it's probably done. Sloth token. Monique says there's a product from a company called Simple Lawn Solutions. They have some sort of surfactant spray that's supposed to be amazing at breaking up clay soil and improving drainage. I'm not sure. The drainage is the other way around, unless you're talking to another David in here. We have good drainage here, but my friend has poor drainage. Yeah, so let me see what's going on. One sec. Can you guys wait?
Hijacking the stream here. Are y'all having fun? Let's see. Anybody saying anything interesting? He'll be back in a minute. Let's see. I won't move it because then he won't be able to see. Anyhow, he'll be back in just a second. I think he's gonna grab his guitar. He wanted me to come in and he can play. And hi! There he's back. Told you. Sorry for the wait.
Oh, I already have a strap on this one. I went to go find a strap.
Oh, here's a.
I already look. It's a silver strap. It was hiding.
What do you want to do?
Let's see. We're gonna have to move this.
Yeah, this is a small.
So we can mic the room.
Office.
Oh yes. What do we have? Let's see. I'm gonna set the view a little better.
Can I move this chair back out of the way?
Can't see my junky office.
Okay, if I do that, did you need the chair?
Nope.
Just the book.
Hopefully this mic grabs the whole room well.
We'll see.
Hopefully it grabs the violin. Good, okay. So we should be able to do this without getting... It's in D. you guys hear the? It's like, is it mixing? Do I need to be louder? Does she need to be louder? Please let me know. You should be able to root the Barbados cherries fine under light. The biggest problem is them drying out. That sounds good? Sounds good. Okay, good. Cool. Let's see if I can find another one to play here. I don't know if I can play that
That's
one.
okay. No, do whatever you want.
This is my Father's word, and to my listening ears, all nature sings and round me rings the music of the spheres. This is my Father's world, I rest me in the thought of rocks and trees, of skies and seas, his hand of wonders wrought. This is my Father's world. The birds their carols raise, the morning light, the lily white, declare their Maker's praise. This is my Father's world. He shines in all that's fair. In the rustling grass I hear him pass. He speaks to me everywhere. This is my Father's world. Oh, let me ne'er forget that though the wrong seems oft so strong, God is the ruler yet. This is my Father's world. Why should my heart be sad? The Lord is King, in the heavens ring. God reigns, let the earth be glad. This is my Father's world. Why should my heart be sad? The Lord is King, let the heavens ring. God reigns, let the earth be glad. Oh, that is such a cool song. That is such a classic. Ah. That one we could use a whole string quartet. This is a cool book. This is called How Sweet the Sound, Hymns and Choruses with Guitar Chords. And this book, man, it's great. Because it's got a lot of the ones that I know, but they're, instead of just being for the piano, they actually have them for the guitar too, which is really nice. Jesus, I love thee. I know thou art mine. For thee all the follies of sin I resign. My gracious Redeemer, my Savior art thou. How if ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. I love thee because thou hast first loved me and purchased my pardon on Calvary's tree. I love thee for wearing the thorns on thy brow. If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. In mansions of glory and endless delight, I'll ever adore thee in heaven so bright. I'll sing with the glittering crown on my brow. If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. If ever I love thee, my Jesus, 'tis now. That's another good classic. Lagging an hour behind. In April, we'll catch up. Thank you, Carolyn. I was feeling kind of bummed out this morning. So I had to sit down and read the Bible for a while because I was just, too many things to think about. Let's see. Sometimes just singing a few songs will really pick you up. There's a lady that lives right near me who's a piano player. She lives in our neighborhood. She's a piano player for a little church. And my kids went over today. A couple of them wanted to go and play cards because she said they could come over and play anytime. So they went over there and they were playing Phase 10. And so I went over and got talking to her and I said, you know, I'd love to see your piano. And she goes, oh, come on in. So I sat down and played a couple of hymns, and then she started playing. Then we ended up singing, and she's in her 80s, and we were like singing duets, and she's playing the hymns. I was like, this is so great. It's really it's amazing. You know, it's really beautiful. So let's see, where are we? Oh, thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. You're too make sure you got enough seed money there. You've got land to develop and everything. We used to play this one in my church a lot when I was a kid. As a deer panted for the water, so my soul longeth after thee. Oh, that's so cool. This is a Christmas one, but I like it. You want to play a Christmas one?
Sure.
It can work at any time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of chords. Maybe not.
Can you skip it?
Maybe not.
We'll
I
work
think I'm
on
gonna find a really simple chorus. Where's the kids' Sunday school book?
it. Next to the flannelgraph.
I don't think that there's a different. That one's got the additional part to it that I don't actually know how it goes. Just can't do it. All right, I'll take that, Scott. I can put it in. This is a really good one for tax season. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in His wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in His wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of His glory and grace. So a simple chorus, but it's nice. Turn your eyes upon Jesus, look full in His wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of His glory. Great, just let it go. Oh, this is a cool one too. I wonder if I can play this one. Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling. Yeah, I love a good Lenten hymn. That's right. Delilah says, probably dates me, but I know all these. Hey, I know these songs too.
Yeah, I was thinking.
You're good.
You know, you flip through the book, and any of them that you know, you say, "Oh, I love this one." I don't think I've ever found a hymn that I know, and I've said, "Oh, I don't."
Oh, I don't love this one. I can't stand that one.
I don't really like it.
Yeah.
I love them all.
This is a hard one. This one's the impossible one.
Ooh.
It's not that it's hard to play. It's that it's hard to actually do. All to Jesus I surrender. All to Him I freely give. I will never love and trust Him in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender humbly at His feet. I bow. Worldly pleasures all forsaken, take me, Jesus, take me now. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender. Make me Savior, wholly Thine. Let me feel the Holy Spirit. Truly know that Thou art mine. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all to Jesus. I surrender, Lord. I give myself to Thee. Fill me with Thy love and power. Let Thy blessings fall on me. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. Oh yeah. I know that when I see the Mexican tip here, I know it's Joe. I think that Amazing Grace is the only song that I know is bilingual, American version as well as a. Yeah, that's I don't think I've ever heard it in Spanish.
Oh, that would be fun to hear.
I think it would be awesome with a mariachi band, honestly.
It's really, really nice in the bagpipes.
Oh, yes.
If you
Mexican bagpipers, too, are like unbelievably good. Mexican Scottish revival style? Yeah. Blessed assurance, Jesus is mine. Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. Heir of salvation, purchase of God, born of the Spirit, washed in His blood. This is my story. Praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song. Praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, perfect delight. Visions of rapture now burst on my sight. Angels descending bring from above echoes of mercy, whispers of love. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. Perfect submission, all is at rest. I am my Savior, am happy and blessed. Watching and waiting, looking above, filled with His goodness, lost in His love. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. That's by Fanny J. Crosby. Mrs. Crosby was incredible.
Was she Mrs. Crosby? Did she marry?
Yeah, she did marry. And I'm pretty sure she married. Yeah,
Well, I don't know.
I think she did. She married. But that song, Blessed Assurance, Fanny Crosby was blind. She was blind from the time she was an infant. And she was well known for writing hymns and poetry and other things. And a pastor said to her once, he says, I'm so sorry. You know, he says, you're so talented. I'm just so sorry that you're blind. And she said, oh no. She says, I wouldn't trade it. I'd rather be blind. She says, you know, the first face I'm going to see after I die will be the face of my Savior. That'll be the first face I've ever seen. Like, whoa. Wow. Most people would complain. So anyhow, I think we're gonna call it a night. Are you played out yet?
Whatever you want to do.
I'll do one more here. We'll do one more. You're gonna hum everyone.
I'm not. I'm talking about. It's like when he's driving in the car, and he and the kids and I start reading the signs on the side of the road. Ooh, look, there's a such and such. And
Like
eventually
that's David's
stop,
catfish. I'm like,
stop.
stop it! I don't care.
Nobody cares. And then that's all you can do is like try not to say the road signs.
Too many chords.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best on by day or by night, walking or sleeping, my presence, my life. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou and thou only be first in my heart. Great God of heaven, my treasure thou art. Great God of heaven, my victory won. May I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. Heart of my own heart, whatever befall, still be my vision, O ruler of all. That's such a pretty one. Should probably go up a key or two. I think that's supposed to have a capo on it, but I never learned how to use a capo. All right, one more.
It's hard to stop once you get started. Okay.
When we walk with the Lord in the light of His word, what a glory He sheds on our way. When we do His good will, He abides with us still, and with all who will trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. Not a burden we bear, not a sorrow we share, but our toil He doth richly repay. Not a plea for a loss, not a frown or applause, but is blessed if we trust and obey. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus, but to trust and obey. But we never can prove the delights of trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
It was a lot of fun. Thank you all for letting me come out.
Thanks for coming out tonight.
Yeah. Come out of the closet. Come out of the bathroom.
Come out, just and for the mysterious from the mysterious rest of the house. Donkey playing football. That's Gus. Okay, good. Let somebody do that. I don't remember. I just remember that from when I was a kid. So. Scott says my mom was Scottish. Well, hence the name, right, Scott? I can tell you bagpipes are great if they are played from a hill way over there. They are loud right near, man. You guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you, everybody. Take baby steps in your gardens. Don't be afraid. One bit at a time. One piece at a time, you'll get there. And if you get depressed, sing some hymns. So thank you. I want to thank to Karen and Von Rees and Karen again and Jeremy, Scott, Jason. Just keep planning with Nemo. Joe, Lou Davis. Thank you very much. That's very generous of you. Yo, Lou. I always like the name Lou. It's like you want a friend named Lou. Lou will take care of it. It's one of those names. Like Eddie. It's great. So thank you very much. I appreciate everybody sticking around. I just felt like playing, and I thought, well, let's multitask. I wanted to just kind of give a little inspirational thing, and I was like, Rachel, if you want to come in and play violin later, you could do that. And what do you know? One thing leads to another. Next thing you know, we're playing a whole set here. So, yes, ice cream. My kids can't eat that much. Don't give my kids too much ice cream. It's not good for them. It'll rot their teeth. They have to eat nothing but kale. After all, they're my children. And they're little gardening children. So you guys have a great night. Thank you all. Thanks to the members. If you have not watched Tomatoes from Seed to Sauce, I think you'll enjoy it. The experts are amazing in it, and I would love to see that video actually take off because that was a ton of work. And I put it up for free on YouTube yesterday. So if you like it and you think it's worthwhile, please share it. Share it in forums. Share it on Facebook. Whatever you guys are on. I'm not really on much social media. I'm not particularly good at it. But have a great night. Thank you all. God bless. And until next time, may your thumbs always be